Hi, my name is Zoe Kniskern, and I am very nervous to be here. Not because I don't like to speak in public, because I do, and not because I don't know what I'm going to say here, because I spent a 6-hour train ride and a lot of time thinking about it. I got nervous as soon as I decided I wanted to write a speech for TEDx, and that feeling has shockingly only increased. TED Talks are awesome. After first being introduced to them my freshman year of high school, I was hooked. They make you laugh and cry, they inspire you and call you to action, all in profound and artistic ways. What more can you want from a video? But writing one? At the worldly age of 18 and newly legal age of 18, I'm still discovering what makes me laugh. And if you laugh at one of my jokes, it is probably just dumb luck. And if you cry, then this became a train wreck really fast. How can I stand up here in front of an audience of people with more life experience, more cumulative knowledge, and more maturity than myself, and share something with them that they haven't already experienced? I haven't started a charitable foundation, or saved kids in Haiti, or invented a new technology product. I made it through high school, and I got accepted to college, and I've even survived a couple weeks of college. No traumatic experiences to speak of. So when I sat down to write this speech, I waded through a lot of ideas, and most of them got thrown in the trash because they were cliche or they weren't true to me. I mean, jump. We jump in and out of things and situations. Every risk taken is a jump. I'm jumping into adulthood. All true, but none unique to me. So naturally, I started procrastinating, thanks to my Facebook feed. And I read a couple articles that jumped out at me. A few human interest articles, and then one on the Malaysian plane crash. And in 4 short paragraphs, I was able to read about the horrific tragedy and then all of the problems and suspicions that were surrounding it. And immediately afterwards, I just returned to scrolling. I realized how quickly and how often we are able to jump in and out of the lives of others without much thought. Sensationalized words draw us in and out at the turn of a page or flash of a screen, maintaining this rapid speed that we operate at. Everybody takes jumps, either literally or figuratively. It's unavoidable. But what I find myself doing, and you might find that you do this too, is I pay much more attention to my own jumps than those of others. When was the last time you stopped and appreciated the accomplishments of the everyday people you interact with, other than family? It's tough. Life is fast, work is hard, we all have jobs and obligations, people who depend on us, tasks to fulfill, to-do lists down to our toes. No one has time to stop and smell the roses. And if we do rest, we enjoy our own moments, savor the taste of them and tuck them for later, like leftovers from a good meal. But I really watch other people consciously. I mean, we learn from people subconsciously, making notes on pitfalls to avoid and roads to happiness, but I do recognize people's failures and successes, but it's once they've landed. Nobody really sees all the people they know undergoing every challenge or climbing every mountain. We're more likely to see them struggling through a problem or see a picture on Facebook of the top of them at that mountain. And this is why I think that's the case. How many lines would it take to get from point A to point B in this diagram? 1, right? That's pretty obvious. But what if I told you that you also had to hit point A1, A2, A3, and A4 all before you could reach B? It becomes a more complicated path with an infinite number of possible routes. But they all begin and end in the same place. So when people start to condense their lives into 10-second Snapchats or 140 characters or a simple picture with a caption, all we ever see are those point A's and point B's. And that's sort of how I see life jumps. Everyone's life jumps consist of smaller hops that they have undergone. But when you look at someone else's life, you only see the big jump, and you really rarely see those smaller hops that have contributed to that larger picture. I took a trip to London with my parents, and on the bank side of the end of the Millennium Bridge, that's the one in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, and it's swaying rather uncomfortably at the beginning of the film. There was a homeless man holding his dog in the rain. The only word that could describe the weather that day was gray, and that's what the Irish call soft, I believe. And the man sitting there looked cold and tired. A lot of people walked by him that day, even in the few moments that I stood to watch them. but he still had the echo of a smile left on his face. He kept whispering to his companion as though even the fact that they were homeless, sitting on the end of a public bridge, begging for change from strangers, nothing could shatter that bond between man and dog. It was a very compelling image. Standing from where I was in my life, looking at his, I wondered what jump had landed him there. But maybe, in his mind, it wasn't one single momentous leap and suddenly he's homeless on a bridge. It was a series of seemingly digestible, bite-sized choices spiraling inexorably down, and looking back, he can see every misstep he made. But I'll never truly know his story, and he'll never know mine. I often have the "it only happens to somebody else" view on life, but it's really important to remember that to everyone around you, you are that someone else. Do you ever feel that regret when you think about a consequence and you realize it's going to happen and you can see the choice you've made, maybe it was recently or a long time ago, and it is too late to go back? I do, and for me it has a name. Bizarro. The roller coaster from Six Flags New England. It's that feeling as you are cresting over the top of the first hill of a roller coaster, which riding did not seem like a bad idea when all your friends were like, yeah, let's go, it's going to be so fun, we're going to love it. But then you're tipping over a 221-foot, 70-degree drop, and you realize that you're not gonna enjoy that. Not at all. No, those at negative G's at 77 miles per hour, not really gonna be fun. But it is way too late to get off, so all you have is a safety harness and that happy place that you retreat to as you being rocketed through a terrifying ride, and you're gripping this bar and not even a crowbar could pry you loose. And it is very, very scary. Now, have you ever watched someone venture down a path that you could see was much bigger than they knew, and then you had to sit there and watch as they worked through this knot of their own creation, and you were offering what little support could penetrate their walls? I've had more than a few friends who I've watched work through such times. It's a struggle. And in retrospect, I've unwillingly submitted other people watching me do the same. And I'm pretty sure most of the people in this room can understand the pain of caring, and also know that those stories are not ours to share. When you look at a stranger, you see them as a snapshot. You jump into a frozen moment of their life, where they are in that minute, and you share their present. But as for their past, no one, even if you had the time, is going to sit you down and explain all of their past choices and what led them to this point. But you also don't get to share their future. You're left to your own path, and all that's left of theirs are the shadows of the journeys that you imagine for them, based on the point A's and B's that you've witnessed. So although you see them as a bitter adult, a worn-out mom, an alcoholic, a cop star gone wrong, a crazy girl at a party, a homeless man at the end of a bridge, those are just the conclusions you've jumped to in the time it takes to walk past. As individuals, we rarely leap from one goal in our life to the next. It's smaller hops. They can be short or they're long, but when they're filtered through the eyes of our technology today and the eyes of others, our history is reduced to the big jumps between life's sorrows and celebrations. In a corn maze, you navigate turn by turn, feeling your way, but then you see those great pictures, and then it's this massive picture that they've created out of the corn, but when you're inside, you don't see that. And I'm not saying that one of these perspectives is better than the other. If we started hopping through life only concentrating on that bigger picture, you'd be overthinking it and you would miss a lot of things. And if people only showed you point A and point B, you would start to construct opinions based on very broad, loose, uninformed assumptions. Now, I don't have a way that you can fix this or a new way that you should look at things. It's just one of those things that sort of is. There's no bottom line here. I don't have any, get up out of your seat and go do this now. But the next time that you see someone or you read something in a paper or on a news feed and you don't jump to some conclusion about their story and their path, remember that all you're seeing is a tiny minuscule of their timeline, and you don't know whether that moment is a snapshot of them landing or midair or even taking off again. And to them, you're just another snapshot too. Thank you.